Hey guys, welcome to a recap of Summer House Martha's Vineyard, episode 4. New roomies, new beef. And yeah, this episode gave. I feel like, at first Summer House was quite slow, but we're really getting into some things. We're really getting to be invested into these people, and they are now opening up. Because, guys, why did we just learn in episode 4 that Nick has a girlfriend? Not him having a girlfriend and being in everybody's DMs. Sheesh. I wonder how he's going to explain this after the show, post filming. I wonder if the show will have a reunion. I would be so interested to see that for sure. So Nick has a girlfriend and her name is Tasia, and they've been together for a year and a half. So I'm confused. Because I was under the impression for him not to reveal this to the group, you're thinking, okay, maybe a new situation, they're still testing the waters before becoming official. But y'all, they've been official. This is crazy. I wonder how he's going to get out of this one, how he's going to explain this. So, yeah, they've been together for over a year and a half. And his excuse is that she likes to keep things private. I guess no one knows. Make that make sense. Nick, you have a lot to pretty much, go over to make right because everyone in the house is looking at him so confused, especially the ladies, especially Shanice. So, man. So, everyone pretty much calls it a night. They call it a night and they move forward to the next day. So, it's the next day and everyone does their own little routine in the morning just to get started to get the day going. So, yeah, this is the sixth day in the summer house. So, a lot has been going on. We've been through so many roommates. We had Phil, who was barely there for some time. Um, and then we also learned that Shanice is going to be leaving. So, Phil left, Mariah, she left. And now Shanice is leaving. But the reason why she's leaving is because she has to work. She's a working girl. She got to pay some bills. She has to prove to her work that she can do her job. So she is leaving the house on the sixth day. And everyone, is off doing their own routine. Shanice, she is packing her stuff to go home. And she kind of feels down a little bit. She feels like, man, I'm leaving so soon and I haven't had a chance to hook up with anybody. I'm like, Shanice, this is too much, girl. She is so much fun. She is a spitfire, a little shy too, but we get these different sides of her. And I was kind of sad to learn that she was actually leaving the house. Because now what we're supposed to get into, because we just, got over Alex and we kind of got over Alex and Shanice's situation, but I kind of wanted to see that play out more. So I was a bit down. So the ladies, they plan a mimosa walk, and the guys are doing an exercise class. So yeah, the mimosa walk was more of my speed, but the guys end up having more fun. They really got into some things, okay? So the men, they're working out and they're doing too much to the point where Preston does not want to be here. He feels like all the attention is on him. And Silas, he's being very super strict about the workout. And I'm like feeling for Preston. I'm like, if I was Preston, I would have picked up, gone to the kitchen and made me a mimosa and go on mimosa walk, okay? So the guys, after they finish working out, they end up discussing about Nick. You know, it is interesting because the guys, they want to know where everyone's thoughts right now in the trip. And they had a big discussion before last the night before, about the ladies accepting drinks from other men that when they go out. So there was a small little conversation about that. And the guys, specifically Nick, his position was that it's not so much of a big deal, even though for Silas, he feels like it leaves room for interpretation, leaves room for a man to advance on his partner, Jasmine. So he's hearing other people's perspective, but he has his own opinions, So the conversation then switched over to how Nick has a new girlfriend who's not so new. And and when we learned that he's been with his girlfriend for a year and a half, he said that in the confessional. So he didn't even say that to the group per se. So it's a bit weird, okay? So, the ladies are off doing their walk and they bring up, how Shanice has a theory pretty much about they pretty much bring up the theory about what they think about why Nick made himself super flirtatious towards Shanice and to the ladies. And pretty much their perspective is that he was trying to assess to see if the ladies had interest in him. And when they didn't, he kind of then reveal, oh, I have a girlfriend, so that wouldn't have been possible in the first place. So that's their theory, and I think I could agree. I'm just so curious what would be the series of events if one of the ladies did have a crush on Nick? Like, would he pursue that, or how he would play around with that? Ugh, such a sticky situation. So much more drama that would have been. Can you imagine? Would have been good for us. So, it's interesting for the ladies that, they're not interested in him. So they kind of wonder what was Nick's intentions. And I do too as well. Now, over to the guys, Nick, he's over and he's saying that, you know, he is okay with kind of flirtation because when you have an attractive woman, which he is with an attractive woman, it kind of comes with the territory that she's going to be hit on. And he is comfortable and confident as a man not to feel a threat to it. He just thinks that's part of the territory. And some guys do think this way. This kind of thinking reminds me of Love is Blind. Um, with SK, because I remember how much, he would say that's part of the baddie territory when it came to Raven. So I just got a flashback to that, and that didn't end well. So I'm so curious to how his relationship is with Tasia after watching this episode and pretty much this whole series throughout from the beginning, learning every little detail. It's gonna be quite uncomfortable. I know that for sure. So Nick, he said he's a comfortable man, and that's that. And they move forward. So Shanice, she leaves the house, and everyone else is just hanging out. And then we have Jordan and Alex flirting, and I'm uncomfortable because I'm actually Team Amir. I love Amir. I like how open he is, how much we learn about him, and how much of as a support he is to the house. Like he is such a team player, and I kind of like him and Jordan together. Now I know Alex also has interest in Jordan. I just want to see these two go on a proper date. At least her and Amir go on a proper date. Um, oh, there's gonna be so much competition because Jordan is the beautiful woman. So these both guys have great taste. But I was rooting for Amir. Amir, we're rooting for you. You need to get it together. I hope we get to see more of their relationship spark up. So today is giving pool day vibes, y'all. Everyone is pretty much hanging out by the pool, getting the pool toys up and running. They're just gonna chill out and have a chill day. So Silas and Nick, they have a talk. And pretty much, Nick wanted this talk one-on-one with Silas for quite some time now, especially after the conversation about how he feels that the girls shouldn't accept drinks from men when they go out. So Nick, his perspective is that he thinks that, Silas manages every situation, and it's pretty much calling him controlling. And I think Silas is controlling? I think he has some tendencies. I feel like Silas views himself as the leader and he wants to lead his partner. So I don't know if I would call him controlling, but I will say that from others, their perspective of the situation, it could be a little bit uncomfortable, given that they're all singles and they don't know the change that happens when you go from being single to now being in a marriage. They're still working out the kinks, but I wouldn't, be so harsh on Silas. So, Silas, he responds to this and says that, when it comes to him and Jasmine, he just feels like he's just planning and making sure things turns out right. He kind of views Jasmine as an independent woman, and he's just there just to be there as support, which I thought was a good thing to say and the right thing to say. And I see that through his actions. I wouldn't call Silas controlling at that from my perspective. I just see them as a newly married couple who's still learning out the kinks in this thing called marriage. Okay. Now, Nick, he says that he views Silas as being overprotective, and by him being overprotective, Jasmine may lose, some skill set, and kind of lose her independence, and from him protecting herself too much. But I feel like, Jasmine is not a weak woman. I feel like others don't need to speak for Jasmine. Jasmine doesn't give off energy of feeling that she is controlled. If anything, she's very receptive towards Silas. I feel like their relationship is just, getting used to the new norms of marriage. And I just think that, everyone can have their feedback and opinion, but I don't think these are necessary, not necessary. And I agree with Silas. Silas is like, I'm not taking advice from a person who just got a new girlfriend that is an old girlfriend but is a new girlfriend. And I stand by what he says. So him having a secret girlfriend does not make him, it's like maybe it's the wrong messenger. Nick being the wrong messenger, because how can you take that with some weight, especially if you're flip-flopping? Like, come on, sir. That to me was wild. So, of course, we recognize Jasmine as independent. She survived herself on her own before this relationship. So I don't view Jasmine as a person who lost her identity. I feel like, we would have to see more than just what we have seen on so far on screen. So moving on, we see Bria, and she wants to get the tea on Nick's secret's girlfriend. So, she especially wants to know, and get Nick drilled on, because she knows that they're gonna drill her relationship with Simon. So she wants fair and equal treatment. I feel like with Bria, she wants things to be fair. So to make sure to protect her behind, she wants to make sure everyone is treated the same, which I see it, but I don't see it. And oy. Simon is coming, and they all know, and she knows that they're going to drill Simon. So they kind of talk about support and a sense of family. And I kind of like how the conversation was going and moving, because Amir, he gets emotional. And that made me really love Amir, because he is not one to shy away to say how he's feeling. I believe he feels like he's in a safe space. So I just wish that, it is sacred, it's a safe space. And the way Preston and Bria was there to support him, oh, that was just what he needed exactly. Like confirmation of what he is feeling, what he is processing in being in this summer house. So Amir gets emotional because, he's going through new self-discoveries he has made so far in this trip. He feels like he's been accepted, and that he feels a new sense of confidence, which is shocking for him and amazing to him at the same time. And I actually really love this for him. I really do love this for him because, he came out of Texas. So we know the environment, the attitudes is completely different from being here in a completely new environment where you are immersed into Black culture. So that, that's why they say it's a benefit to going to the HBCU, to be really immersed into Black culture, to know where you came from, to have people who look like you be there as support, as family, as friends, as a sense of community. I really enjoyed that for him. I'm like, yes, this is what TV moments are for. So back to the pool party. So we are now having to witness Nick failing to impress Jordan. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my goodness. No, stop. This man is trying to impress Jordan when we just learned he has a secret girlfriend. And I was just as shocked as Jordan was, just seeing Nick just go on the flotation device and just falling. I'm like, sir, you are out of the game. You are not. in the running to be Jordan's next man. Okay, no, 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 no. So I thought that was interesting, that whole scene. So Bria, she is FaceTiming with Simon, and she's checking in on him because he's coming soon to the summer house. So that's what's the big anticipation. I feel like we get so much focus, so much emphasis in seeing her and Simon, him hearing that he's coming. So it's a lot of overwhelming feelings around that. And guys, I'm nervous because now it's evening and they have food sent over to the house. So they are pretty much planning out what's going to happen on the later days. But the group first, they want Nick to address him having a new girlfriend. I feel like this was his moment to make it clear to the group where he stands in his relationship and how the group moves forward. So Nick, he acknowledges that, he's been quite ambiguous about his love life, which I can understand at first if it was something new, but if it's something for a year and a half, that's a red flag, a red flag, red flag, red flag. Okay. So he explains that he was just feeling uncomfortable and he's been playing two faces, as you should, because you're coming on to this new TV show. You're trying to get understand what is your role. And I feel like we weren't getting the genuine Nick, okay? So he says that he pretty much, how he wants to acknowledge the flirtatious messages because you know Jordan, she kept it 100 for us. She kept it 100. She's like, why are you texting, DMing us, flirting with us, and pretty much telling Shanice that you want her to be, that's your wife. Like, that's your wife. So he explains first the part about the messages. He felt like what he said was just friendly, a friendly message. But he is not claiming the wipe comment. He's saying that does not exist. He doesn't. He does not recall. Like he is dodging that part, which is now weird. That makes the situation even weirder. And I can understand because he wants to make face for Tasia, his girlfriend, his not so new girlfriend, but also kind of like have the group kind of move along and pretend that nothing happened. So in the confessionals, I'm so happy that the producers are pressing him and asking him, but he is not folding, y'all. He said no. Period. No, period. So I thought that, wow, so when are we gonna get the truth? We're gonna need actual DMs now. Is he gonna erase them? Shanice, you need to be here. Out of all nights, we needed Shanice to be at this dinner. To be at this dinner. Oh my gosh. So it gets kind of awkward, and I'm feeling awkward too. And we get a confessional with Alex saying that he had information of Nick having a girlfriend. So it was kind of weird how, and confusing for him in this house. And he kind of wish he had a real conversation with Nick to how he proceeded with this because it is kind of weird. Like, no, like I'm supposed to be your friend. We're supposed to know each other. So why you have me in this confusion? Like, why are you doing this in the first place? Is something wrong? Okay. And that goes to show you that Alex is a good friend. Alex is a friend that wants to be there, wants to support you, wants to understand you. Isn't here for you to lie and not be your whole transparent true self. Okay. So, Nick, he thought he could be friendly, y'all. He thought he could be friendly because he only saw friendship. So he shares with the group about his relationship and he opens up saying, I've been with her for a year and a half. And it's just, the group and I am just lost for words. They don't know how to move on from this conversation, but luckily Preston, he puts life into the situation and they started surfing on the surf. They did a dance move on during the dinner, so they made it much more lighthearted, much more fun. Surf swagging, they were surf swagging, that's what it was. Yes, so I was like, okay, good, that's a good way to end the situation. So they toast marshmallows and called it a night and they moved on. So now everyone is going to sleep and Bria, she texts Jasmine, she texts Silas to say, I'm excited for Simon to be coming, letting them know that Simon is on the way, y'all. And Jasmine and Silas are like looking at each other confused in their bedroom. They're like, did we approve this? Did we okay this? Like, how is this happening? And Jasmine says to Silas that, oh, I'm going to address this in the morning. I'm going to talk to Bria. So I'm confused because, I remember this conversation. So I can understand and see how, later on Bria is gonna be quite upset with these two. But y'all, but then again, I have a reason and rationale for that. So let's get into that. Let's hold off on that. So it's the next day, and I was kind of like ready for the morning. But wait, before we get to the next day, Jasmine and Silas, of course, they had sex, and they had a funny moment. Silas, after they had sex, Silas is like, "Do you think these cameras have night sensor vision?" And then of course, Jasmine's like, "Of course they do." And then he's kind of like, "Oh wow, we're gonna be next Kim and Ray J." So I thought that was interesting that they now process that the cameras could actually see them having sex. So this is gonna be a critical information moving on in the future. So I did have to add that. But yeah, they always seem to get busy in the summer house, which is why the other roommates are roommates being Bria feel some type of way about the situation. So we'll get into that. So it's the next morning, y'all. We're here. We're in the next morning. And they have decided that they're going to be going fishing. Fishing organized by Amir. Amir, he's the fun police. He makes the situation fun. I'm like, yes, let's have another activity. Let's get going. But first, Jasmine and Bria, they have a talk. Now, Bria, she reminds that she did mention to Jasmine in the bowling alley that Simon was coming. Guys, I just thought about it. Was Jasmine and Silas like sober when having this conversation? Because they were probably just drinking and bowling and they didn't really process that information. But yeah, if they were not sober, then that means the both of them were confused and lost, track of them being able to know what they're agreeing to, because you can't just say they were like, yeah, they were happy, they were like, yeah, that's great. But then I thought about it, and it's really what's bothering them is the length that Simon is staying. So Jasmine, she wants to bring it to the house pretty much because it's such an extended stay, and I could not agree more. I feel like how others feel in the house that, oh, maybe like 3 days is good. I think that Simon should spend 3 days maybe in the house and then 3 days out the house. They go off and do something else. But to be in a whole situation in a house planned for X people and you're bringing now Y people, it's like, no, for a whole week. Oh no, I would get tired. I would get tired. Even though he's staying in your room and you guys are sleeping together, he's gonna be in the common space. He's gonna be in the toilet. He's gonna be in the pool. Sometimes you don't want to be around a high volume of people. You wanted the core group to be there because it's about them. It's them in this photo. Is Simon in? No, Simon is not in this photo. Okay, so no, 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 no. So it should be brought to the house, and I feel like it's reasonable. And I think there was a mistake for Jasmine to agree with Silas to allow Bria to have Simon come over. I think that's what it is. I think that they should have just told her no. No, 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 no. But it kind of seemed to as well that Bria seemed to already invited Simon to the situation. So I feel like that's even worse because why would you allow someone to come without the approval of the house? Even though you may not think it's a big deal, you have to still consider others. And I felt like Bria was being a bit selfish in the situation. So in the confessional, Jasmine, she is really confused. She's like, I did not agree to Bria inviting Simon for over a week. I think it was okay if she did agree to something. She probably did agree to having allowing Simon to come over, but to stay for a week, even though he's coming for Germany and it's such a long travel, I think that he should make proper accommodations for the extended stay that he has. But come on, you have to be reasonable. So I was actually on Jasmine and Silas' side. Bria, I was not on your side with this. So Bria, she goes off and she FaceTimes Shanice, and she shares how she had an off conversation with Alex. And this brings up, and she shares the reason why Alex was really uncomfortable with Shanice. So he brings it up to her off camera that, he saw the article, with the topic of Shanice stalking her ex after they broke up. And, Shanice, she rolls her eyes. And Bria, she also wants Shanice to come back because she thought those things were so silly. And it was like not a big deal. And she wants Shanice to come back. I want Shanice to come back because Shanice is going to bring some drama, okay? That's why I want her to come back. So I would love to have Shanice to come back. Oh, please come back. So she said she will. So I look forward to that. So this is going to be a real pack house, y'all. It's going to be a real pack house, and Simon's not even here yet. So the crew is off to go fishing, and they are actually fishing and they're catching fish. And I was impressed. Those fishermen, they found the perfect spot where the fish was just jumping onto the boat. So they were able to catch a lot of fish, enough for everyone to eat twice, okay? So the great question of the day of this episode was whether or not we're frying this fish or we grilling this fish. And y'all, I was so happy they said fry because the healthy part of myself would say, "Oh, let's grill it. I'm feeling healthy. I'm in my health era." But they said fry, and I'm like, hell yeah. Us black people, we love fried food. I love that for us. So they get home, and Simon sent Bria a whole bunch of flowers. And I'm like, I would be so annoyed. I'm like, ugh, more stuff to the house. Not as a hater, but the house is crowded. Like, he's doing too much. Like, what he should have done is send something for the house, like for the housemates too, not just Bria. Like, come on. I think that would be good etiquette. So we get a newcomer, guys, and I'm like, this house is gonna be really packed. This house is gonna be really packed. We get Summer. Summer is in the house, y'all. And this is Jasmine and Jordan's friend. So the guys, they are seeing this new piece of thing, this new lady, and they're just saying, oh, that she reminds them of Hillary Banks. So the guys, they're talking in their confessional how beautiful she is and how that she looks like Hillary Banks. And I was gagged that the production team, one person on the production team, did not know who Hillary Banks is. An iconic character. Are you kidding me? How are you filming the summer house, Martha's Vineyard, in black culture, and you don't know who Hillary Banks is? I would have not admitted that out loud. I was a little bit embarrassed. I hope someone on the crew forced them to watch, to watch all about Hillary Banks. Okay, why is the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Okay, no, I almost drawing a blank because I was so gone. I was like, no, 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 no. How can you not know The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Hillary Banks? Oh my gosh. Now, if they said Whitley, I could have kind of understand that's the older generation. But Hillary Banks, that's just iconic. Okay, she's an iconic character. So moving on, they all decide to have a toga party. And I'm excited for this too because you only kind of see that like in the movies back in the day, an actual toga party. But y'all, they're doing a toga party and they're bringing Greek life into it. So, Silas, he wants to make it Alpha versus Kappa. But then we get some conflict from Jordan because she comes from a long line of Omegas. And we then also learn that Summer, she was actually kicked out of Alpha Phi. So it became a whole dispute about, oh, why we have to make it about Greek life. But Silas was like, well, we're making it true to Toga Party, true to what we're doing. And, Silas, they're going to say that he likes to control. But then again, it was his idea. Like, I didn't mind that they were doing Alpha versus Kappa. But then it became a situation where they were being technical, where Summer was like, well, I was a part of Alpha Phi, so why can't I be the captain? And she was trying to say, oh, oh, this was the sexist thing. But girl, you were kicked out of Alpha Phi. Like, I don't think they would want you to represent them. Like, first of all, you still have to be a part of that chapter, okay? So I thought this was a non-issue and they were doing too much. So I was happy that they move on from this, because then we get to see we also get another guest, y'all. We got Jason. Jason, he's a roommate. He was a roommate of Jasmine, y'all. And I was a little bit, because, he had to say that he was hetero. And I don't know why someone has to announce if they're hetero or homo. That was a bit peculiar for me. But, Silas, he says that, he can understand how someone can be kind of cautious to have a straight man be a roommate with his wife, or was a roommate with his wife. But he extends the love to Jason because Jasmine does. And I just see, like, here's where Silas is supportive, y'all see it, don't ignore it, because that does count. He is supportive towards Jasmine, because he could have been all, oh no, Jasmine is not allowed to talk to no males at all, like, no. So I was happy to see that. So moving on, Bria, she FaceTime Simon and she is giving him the tea. And I feel like this is like kind of instigating Simon to feel some type of way about the people in the house. Like, you want him to come with good vibes. And I don't think it's good vibes when you kind of like say, oh, these people don't really want you there. They're kind of feeling a type of way that you're going to be here for quite some time. I said, that's not what you do. That's not how you help the situation, Bria. So I'm like anticipating Simon's arrival, y'all. So we're jumping scene and the people are making the food. I kind of like when they make the food because they really do bond in their moments in making food. So Bria, she is joking, having fun with the guys, but then she wants to pull Silas to a side to address her issues with him. So they go outside for a talk. And Bria, she explains to Silas that she feels like race is why Silas doesn't want Simon to come to the house. I'm confused. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I feel like she's pulling at straws. I did not agree with her in this moment. I feel like she was doing too much, and I felt it was within every right by Silas to be defensive about it, because you're accusing him to being racist. Like, how can you, if you're saying he's making it about race, therefore he is racist. That's as plain as it could be. You cannot accuse someone to making it about race and say they're not racist. You're pretty much saying he's racist. And the reason why she feels this way is because of Silas saying that he prefers, or his preference is to be with black women, and that his black women are with black men, and he believes in black love. I don't think that's anything negative to say. I feel like you're finding an issue where there doesn't need to be an issue, or you're trying to find a point that you can use and manipulate to get what you want. And I feel like, yes, Bria is manipulative. And yeah, I did not like her this episode, but I did feel bad to hear the news about her in Paris, her being actually profiled and treated poorly because of her race. That was very unfortunate. And I feel like, with Bria, she has to be very cautious to know not to throw around these statements. Because look, she goes to Paris and she's just shopping, enjoying her time in Paris, and then she has to deal with someone accusing her of stealing or robbing something. Come on. That's unfortunate. But let's not, Silas and Jasmine, they want to be her actual support. They want to be friends. And I feel like you shouldn't push away these friends. No, especially I hope they came out to support her, but I feel for her, but she does have a tendency to be manipulative. And I do not like when someone acts like that. So I was so happy that Silas, he stood up for himself. And then on top of that, Jasmine comes in for her man. She stands up for her man. You don't come for Silas. And she stands up for him. Bria, she now makes it a whole deal. She says she wants to leave. I'm like, she could go pretty much. So in the kitchen, Amir and them, Amir and them are having a conversation because they're hearing everything that's going on outside. And they share the same sentiments. They feel like, 3 days is normal, but a whole week, They need space, y'all. They need space. And I could have not agree more. So I feel like Bria is not really understanding, and she's only considering herself and Simon and not everybody else. So let's get back to the toga party. So Amir, he really did that. He really made the food look good. The food looks good and everyone was eating. I was like, damn, I wish I had an invite. Let me go to the summer house. Let me go the next episode, the next season, y'all. Let me in, let me in, let me in. So everyone is eating, everyone is enjoying, but Bria, she is packing up her things and she's ready to dip. She's ready to go. So Silas, after he was finished eating, he went up to check on his little sis pretty much. He goes up to check on Bria and they try to have a talk again, but y'all, it was just not giving. Bria, she had her mind made up. So Bria, she throws it into Silas' face that, it's unfair because you get to have sex with Jasmine. She doesn't have a partner to have sex with too, and everyone in the house has to hear you have sex. Da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, now we at the real issue about the situation. And right now, Bria is doing too much. But when she starts to get loud, Jasmine's gonna be right there to support her man. She comes up to come see about what's the commotion all about. So Bria, she is not being right. She throws it in Silas' face, calls him controlling, that he controls Jasmine. And here comes Jasmine right here in front of Bria, letting her know what I saying, I'm here, I'm present, what's being said. And I like that. I feel like, as these two couple they should defend themselves, because I feel like Bria, she is being not right at all, and I wonder to see how she's gonna address this. I hope she apologizes to them, because honestly, she owes them an apology. Her behavior, let's blame it on her being horny. Let's blame it on her being, feeling some type of way, missing her boo. But do not take your aggression on the people in the house. Like, let's not do that. So, guys, that was the recap of Summer House Martha's Vineyard. So, guys, if you like this recap, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, share as much kindness as possible. This episode was a little bit, I don't know, R-rated. So, YouTube, oh, sorry, not sorry, but guys, enjoy, and also stay tuned for more recaps on my page. So I'll see you guys later and have a great one. Bye.